I spent a lot of time down at Riverside in Minneapolis, and I had some really neat experiences there,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the Red Room where the man hung himself. I had some cool experiences there, but the two experiences that will always be prevalent in my mind are when I went to the Indian burial mounds on the east side of St. Paul. And I got
Mm-hmm.
to speak with one of the chiefs who had passed away and a shaman. And they were talking with me about the land and how people on earth have been completely wrecking the land and how they're
Mm-hmm.
not honoring it and how they're just so mad that they're taking over and aren't bothering to honor the land.
Yep.
So that was
That's pretty.
it was a fascinating discussion. And then on my way home from talking with them, I saw a UFO. So
Oh, cool.
it was such a phenomenal experience. So that one, and then the stock exchange, the Concord, the stock exchange building,
Yes.
all of the different experiences I've had there. There's so many, and some are
Yes.
just super simple, and some are incredibly scary and incredibly complex. And that wide range of experiences there, and the depths of the activity there, and that depths that continue to be there is
Yes.
unreal.
Do you ever notice that when the people who are walking around that expo, how more dramatic and emotional they get before we even did readings with them or anything? I
Yep.
mean, these people are already charged as all hell, but you add them into a place with all those spirits, it just amped them up. Those spirits had a full buffet that day. I mean, it is that place is amazing. It's amazingly full. But yeah, those people attending were just being attacked and ate off it because they weren't covering.
Mhm. Yeah, it's on one hand, it's an amazing place to have a spiritual expo, and it's also a really
Mhm,
hard place to have a spiritual expo because then you have
mhm.
all of these emotions and on all of these spirits just hanging around and just
Yep,
vibing and feeding off of each other. It gets to be a lot and pretty overwhelming,
it does. It
but it's
does.
also a
Because
fascinating
after
experience.
it is, because after we're done with that day, I feel like I ran 18 miles at 100 miles an hour. I just drop
Yeah.
because all the emotions, I don't know if they're mine all day long because I'm reading so many people, but at the end of the day, I can't function.
No,
Just
it's too
can't
much.
function. It's too much. Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why I actually had to go into hibernation for about 2 years, just to get
Mhm.
myself, because COVID pretty much shut down my business for a while because you can't go anywhere. Yeah, I was thankful. I actually felt guilty for going into hibernation. It was so strange. I'm like, oh, I'm not helping anybody, but wait, I have to help myself first.
Exactly. And I think that's a lot of times with people like us, what happens is we want to help other people so badly to the detriment of
Yep.
ourselves. And we forget that we have to take that time for ourselves. And if we don't, then we have to take a long break to get
Yes.
that equalization of ourselves and that healing for
Yep.
ourselves.
And it actually kind of worked out in my favor because my family's health has come first. So I've been doing some nursing and whatnot for my husband and for my kid, and that's okay. It's giving me time with them. But now I'm ready to come back out, but I'm going to go slowly this time. I'm not going to go full bore like I once was because I was posting way too damn much at
Hmm.
one point. I couldn't keep up. So now I'm going to start with the woodworking again because that
Oh,
is,
wonderful.
yeah, I need that in my life. I got my sander and I'm gonna get going. I have some walking sticks I want to finish. I have my grandfather's walking stick I want to fix for my mother.
Beautiful.
So that way I can give that to her and finish year one. I promise. I've been saying that for
I,
15
I have
years.
faith you'll get there.
Oh,
So what Sarah
but
is referring to is Sarah graciously helped me. I don't even know when it was probably 10 to 15 years. I don't even know when.
it had to be.
So I have while I'm able to help people cross to the other side, or to the heavens or a different dimension, I really struggle when there's a body, whether it's a human body or an animal body, some kind when it's just as a physical body with no soul.
Mm-hmm.
I find that fascinating because I talk with spirits so frequently that really struggle to handle things like that. It really hurts me emotionally to deal with that. And so one day there was a dead crow right outside of where I lived.
Yep.
And Sarah gracious, and I had this very strong feeling that I needed to take the crow and move it, bury it if I could, if I can't find a spot for it. And it should have been so simple. Most people could have easily have just
What?
taken
It's
a
never
shovel
simple.
and have
Oh,
moved
not in the
it. And
psychic
for
world.
me, it was not at all simple. I was like, oh my
No.
gosh, I can't do this. I can't do this. And Sarah was on the phone with me the whole time and talked me through it. And I managed to get the crow on a shovel and I placed him in between two trees. And then I was also told by the deceased crow that I'm supposed to take its wing with all these beautiful feathers on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh God, how am I supposed to do that? I could barely even move the crow. How am I supposed to? Now I have to like break it. Oh my gosh. It was so devastating and dramatic for me. And Sarah's
Now
hanging
we
on
think
there with
about
me
it. We can.
on the phone. And I have no doubt I was incredibly dramatic. Like, oh my God,
Oh, yeah.
I have to remove the
So,
wing. How do I do
so,
this?
so you honestly have to think city mouse and country mouse because that's where I'm at. I'm in the country and she is not.
But I managed to. I think what I did is I think I
She
put my
got through
hand
it.
in a Ziploc bag and then I just closed my eyes and I pulled and then I quickly zipped it up and then
Yep.
then I saved it and then I think I did manage to pull some feathers off of the
You
wing.
did. You
And
did because you
then
gave me some.
I
That's what's
gave
going to
Sarah
go in
some
your
to make a
wand.
wand for me and then I kept some for myself cuz I was like that was really hard.
That was really hard. Yes, I know it was for you.
It shouldn't have been, but it was.
But
Oh man, that was an experience.
I know. But we made it.
We
Go
did.
get your wand. No, I'm starting back up. I will make your wand. I'll make
I
sure.
figure it'll happen. I'm not worried.
I know. I appreciate your
It'll
patience.
happen when it's supposed to. Sarah has
Yeah.
also made I wish you guys could see it and maybe she'll make another one at some point and she'll have it up for sale. She makes this beautiful wand. It has a handle and it's is it a macaw feather? It's a
Yes. At
single
one point,
gorgeous macaw feather, and it is breathtaking, and to use it with energy work is just phenomenal of
yes,
how
it
well
cuts the
it
cords.
cuts cords and just disconnects things.
So when I make the wands, I connect them to archangels. And since I know in my world, Archangel Michael is blue. So when I use that wand, I cut the cords with Michael's sword. So he has that he's an extension of myself when I'm working. That really helps.
I bet.
Raphael's the healer and he's green. That's why you have a green heart chakra, is because of Raphael.
How about black for the crows?
Black for the crows, that's for grounding. That is going to be Mother Earth herself. Let's be at the bottom of the feet. And that's where the crows actually are the smartest because that's where the smartest beings live, or the ones, the spirits that attach in the earthly spirit realm. So the crows are pretty damn amazing.
Yes, they are.
Things to
They're
have.
brilliant.
So smart. Yes.
They really are.
Way underrated. So yeah, all the colors of the chakras are connected to archangels or whatever. There's some Buddhist gods that are connected to each chakra you could use. There's a whole slew of religions wherever you're at, or make up your own. If you're in a coven or whatever, or a coven of one, you can use whatever gods connect with those chakras for yourself. It's amazing to be pagan. Oh, thank God for it. I'm so oxymoronish. I can't even talk. That was an oxymoron.
So when you worked in that one hotel in Hinckley, I remember there are several times we were on the phone together and you were having experiences. What were some other experiences you had there?
The little girl there, like I was mentioning before, the older lady that got killed there, she was near 52, room 52. There's a little girl who liked to run around the hallways there. Pretty sure she's from the Hinckley Fire as well. She likes to play peekaboo. So I'd be bored at night, so I play peekaboo with a ghost. It's because I think she was looking for her mother and she didn't understand what crossing over meant. So my other friend Mel, who was also very intuitive, we just kind of became mothers to a ghost at some point, and we finally got it. She's finally gone. I got her to cross over, and that took me a while because I worked there for over 2 years. There's also another maintenance man who was downstairs in the basement. He had his tool room back there. He was very protective of the place, so I left him there because that was his job, was to protect
Mhm.
the place, and he was overlooking the little girl at one point as well. He was
Wow.
keeping her safe. So I really didn't want to move him along because he had a purpose.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sometimes you want to, sometimes you have to realize that the universe works in mysterious ways, and he had to be there for a reason. I had no say over that. Yeah, I mean, Hinckley is just full of ghosts everywhere. After the Hinckley fire, it doesn't matter where you go, there's something somewhere in those buildings. The Hinckley Fire Museum is a great place to go because there's so many items in there from the fire, and there's a lot of attachments to those items. You can go in there and you can feel it. It is just, it is so depressing, but it's so amazing at the same time.
Mhm.
If you are very emotional when you're uh, connected to your abilities, you're not going to leave there the same at all. It's a very amazing place to go. The cemetery, there's two different cemeteries, the Lutheran Cemetery and Rose Hill Cemetery. There are graves there from the Hinckley fire with a monument. Great place to check out for sure. You can read about the story of it there. It's free to get in, it's just a graveyard, but it's very, very beautiful. Then when you're standing there reading the monument, you realize, oh, I'm standing on dead people. The first time I realized that I was standing on like 400 people, I'm like, I'm gonna back out. It kind of made me just kind of creeped out. So to this day, I still walk around the grave sites.
I have a question for you. I have a theory about cemeteries.
Hmm.
And so without fully explaining my theory right now, my question for you is this. Do you find spirits hang out in cemeteries?
Not as much as I think. I don't think so. I think cemeteries are for the living. I really do.
That's what I say too. My theory is why would they hang out at a cemetery? Their loved ones
Right.
typically aren't there when they can sneak peek into into the lives of their loved ones
Correct.
without going to a
So
cemetery.
I just recently lost my dad, not this last December, but this December before. And he is still active in my mom's house right now. He's buried in town, but that's not him. So, right before my dad passed away, my brothers and I went to my mom's house and decorated for Christmas just because we thought, okay, we're going to bring dad home. So, we're decorating and decorating and decorating. I actually hung my dad's an avid hunter, so I hung Christmas bulbs on my dad's deer antlers just to be funny. Well, dad didn't make it home, but he made it home after he died. You could think, things were moving around the house. Mom could hear him. She could hear his chair creaking, hear his footsteps up and down the hallway. And then all of a sudden, one day, she looks up and there's a Christmas bulb missing from the deer antler. And it's across the room, not shattered. It's over
Wow.
7 feet away from so the deer is hung up, halfway up the wall. So you're looking at 6.5 feet up the wall. That glass bulb should have shattered when it hit the ground. Instead,
Mhm.
it's 7 feet away from the deer intact. So it was dad. He's definitely just messing with things, checking on mom.
For sure.
Oh yeah,
Playing
they were best
pranks,
friends
wanting to
forever.
get noticed.
Yep, for sure. My kids can feel it when they go in the house, and so can I. He's very busy.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Kid number three. Yeah.
All right.
So
So,
yeah.
where have been some of the creepiest places? And it does not have to be in Minnesota, but you spend a lot of time there. So, what are some of the creepiest places you've ever been around?
Creepiest place I'd have to say, growing up, my Aunt Mary lived with my grandparents within walking distance because that's what we did back in the 80s. You biked everywhere and you walked everywhere. So this is across the road. and down a little ways from my grandparents' house, and the old house is standing there abandoned. I have never felt so threatened in my life. And I was only 11 or 12 at the time, running around with my friends. And we would check out this place. And I felt so threatened. It was amazing. And mind you, I love this woman. She moved into the apartments at one point, but the house itself, you walked in and it felt immediately like somebody came behind you and was trying to stab you, just trying to get you out of there. It was freaky.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was. I've never experienced that. I mean, apparently I had the abilities when I was younger because a 10 or 11-year-old, that would freak a person out, not knowing what the hell that was at the time. But now I know it was a possible attachment. But finally, they did burn down the house and rebuilt over the site. I really hope that they saged that land because it was attached to the land, not the house. So it's still there.
Oh, okay.
Land attachments are probably one of the hardest things to get rid of. Hardest. That's why you've seen the Indians at those burial mounds.
Mm-hmm.
When they give up those sacrifices and whatnot, those people are attached to the land, and that's where the Native Americans, they honor more than anything is the spirit in the land. So yeah, land attachments are tough. And especially if you're a working psychic and you don't clear out the energy, it builds in the home. I'm talking about like the Warrens. What they were experiencing more often than not was energy balls. People's energies in a home build and build and build and build and build. And it creates a vortex, and then demons get in. But I remember at one time, she was working on a case, and it was the teenager causing all the disruptions in the house. They thought they had a ghost running around moving things and whatnot, but it wasn't here. It was the kids' energy allowed something else into the house. And that's what they had
Oh.
this. Yeah, so they had to start with the human connection first to make sure that that poltergeist did not have anything else to feed off of.
Mm-hmm.
A big thing in our world when dealing with ghosts and whatnot is making sure you're cleaned off and making sure that you are not allowing.
Yeah, that's why it's so important to work with intentions. And when people
Yes,
don't use intentions or play in things that they don't understand, or they don't understand the potential cause and effect
dangers.
of,
Mm-hmm.
then they just play with it and they don't know what they're bringing in or letting loose.
Correct. Correct. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy what people do. I mean, I'm watching these ghost hunting shows and they're so cheesy. I mean, sometimes they get really good footage if they're lucky. I am a skeptic of all skeptics myself because, like we were talking before, we do it with our gifts, we do it without our gifts. We need technology there at the same time. These these ghost hunting shows are just way too much.
I agree. And the whole provoking stuff, you don't need to provoke. That just ticks
No,
them off.
no,
You come with them and you respect them and you honor the space that they've lived
yep.
in and have been in and are in.
The only
And you
shows that I
meet them where they're
actually
at.
liked, the only shows I actually liked were the shows that actually did something at the end to help these things get along. Like putting a train spike into the ground because iron stops ghosts from coming. So they actually spike the ground in different places.
Which ones do you watch?
Uh, the old ones with Chip Coffee. I love
Mhm,
that one. Paranormal State was one of my favorites before that dude went crazy. Ghost Hunters was okay in the beginning,
mhm.
and then they got way too ate up by the man, and it turned awful.
Yeah.
Dave and Tango are no longer fun. They got way too serious. But very smart though. Very, very smart. I'm glad they're here in the community and they work with the paranormal conventions and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so they're very cool. 'Cause I believe doesn't our friend Nicole work with them when they're in town sometimes?
Oh, does she?
I believe so, because she goes to those conventions as well, because she's on the paranormal team here in
Okay.
Minnesota. So I think that she has at least talked to him a couple times.
I met them at the paranormal convention in Michigan.
So
Yeah.
that'd be so cool.
It was really fun meeting a lot of people. My Kindred Spirits continues to be one of my favorites. I just really like
Yes,
how they
yes,
respect the spirits.
yes. Adam Berry is one of my favorites also,
Mhm. Yeah,
for
I got to
sure.
meet them. They are
Oh.
I did not expect them to be so funny. They are so funny.
Yes, they are.
They're
Yeah.
a riot.
I follow Amy Bruni online because I like what she's done in the past. And she has some really good information at Kindred Spirits is way up there. I actually got to meet the gentleman from I lost it again. The investigator. He's a police investigator and he's with that woman who's a psychic.
Oh, Steve?
Yes,
No.
Steve.
Yeah.
Yes, Steve.
Ghost Files?
Yes, yes. I actually got to when he was kind of starting out. He actually took a friend of mine and me out to a steakhouse.
Oh, fun.
So we actually got to spend like the whole day with him. It was pretty cool. It was a fun adventure.
He was
But
supposed
we
to be
really,
at Michigan Paracon this last August, and there's a big storm coming in, and so several people didn't make it, and he was one of them who didn't make it.
oh,
And
bummer. Yeah,
yeah, it was really
he's a
too
really
bad.
good person to talk. Yeah, he didn't talk much about work, which I didn't expect him to. It was just more a hangout section. Just
Okay.
yeah.
So if someone is just starting to sense that they might have some of these abilities, what do you recommend to them? How do they get started?
Simple is always better, but know yourself first. I started with small books. There's actually a website called spiritlibrary.com. They have great access to different, like if you're all about clairsentient or clairaudience or whatever, they have all these books on there for free to read and
Nice.
get. Yeah.
I
So
never even knew that. Thank you.
yeah. I believe it's ran by Hay House. Hay House is another good source of information. We follow them on Facebook. They have free conferences now and then with other psychics, and they'll do classes to teach you how to increase what you know. Um, I would start also by holding things in your hand like a stone or a piece of jewelry, something that's going to help you remember, hey, I got to turn this on. Oh, I put it down. Now I got to turn it off. I think that's one of the hardest things. We get so excited when we first experience our first paranormal or our first spiritual thing, but we forget to shut it off.
Hmm.
At one point, I actually had to pretend I had a on-off switch in the front of my forehead, and I would have to hit it to shut off my spiritual, just so I wouldn't get too overwhelmed or get let anything in. But when then I'm working, I flick it back on, and then I'm good to go.
Nice. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's just you have to learn yourself, and just nothing is ever right for you if somebody else is doing it. Um, and beware of psychic envy.
Hmm.
You'll be like, oh my gosh, I don't have that gift. I don't have that gift. Why does she have that? Yeah, you do have the gift. The fact that you're jealous of it means you're not working on it and you're not going to get it because you just stopped yourself. You have to be really open in this line of work.
Well, and I think also what happens is people perceive they should get it or receive it in one way, in some
Right.
way, or the more like
Yeah.
commercial or social media
Yes.
way. The way
Yep.
Teresa Caputa gets it. It's like, no, we all get it in different ways. I always thought because I'm a medium, I always thought, oh, it'll just appear, it'll just show up in front of me and I'll
Yep.
see it almost like I'm seeing another human. And that is not at all how it happens with me.
No.
But I had to really try and understand and trust the information I was getting, despite it not coming the way I thought it was going to come.
Hmm. For sure. You have to be open and ready and waiting because when spirit comes for you, spirit's gonna be right fucking there. You just better be ready. Because it becomes a very amazing thing. Um,
Mhm.
there's also another website that I like to use called religiousbooks.com. It's all free downloads. You can read the Quran, you can read Madame Bovary, you can read anything with Buddhism. It's every single religious book that you have no idea even existed. And I actually started going through there. I read about Rasputin and the holy books he was using and that kind. I mean, it was just amazing history if that's the way you want to go with it. But there's a lot of stuff there for spiritual. And it really does help with the spirit world itself. Even when you're ghost hunting, I'm thinking, oh, I read that with Madame Bovary. I wonder if that'll work. So I actually started incorporating how Madame Bovary would get a hold of her or use her psychic gifts. I would use one of her ways to actually help in the ghost hunting.
Oh, very cool. That's a great
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. So those two websites help a lot. Go to a metaphysical store. Start there because that's the community you want to be in anyway. Because they have books and everything. Barnes and Noble is okay. They have a very, very small section of spiritual, and they used to call the spiritual growth section, but they changed the name of it.
What are
Um,
your favorite ones in Minnesota?
I would say Eye of Horus is up there. They have the sages and the herbs, and they have some really great classes. I also like Enchanted Rock, uh, Enchanted Rock Forest or Enchanted Rock Garden. I'm sorry. They're absolutely amazing for their stones, and the guy is very, very knowledgeable
Oh,
on the.
he's so smart.
He is amazing. Then for a little bit cheaper route, because this stuff can get expensive, there's also a little shop in Princeton, right next to the little post office, and all this guy does is geological stuff. It's all nothing but rocks, and it's very, very affordable for beginners. So those are my favorite places because you never know what you're gonna get. Yeah, I'll take a rock for 250 because some of them, like my husband bought me a huge amethyst, or not amethyst, huge quartz, and it has all these gorgeous. It's I'd have to take a picture. It just sparkles in the sun. I think I paid almost $200 for it because it's so big, and yeah, it's amazing what you find. Those amethyst geodes, some of them are up to $5,000 or more. The
Wow.
almost like sage goddess is good for that. She has a lot of that. I
Okay.
followed her for a while as well. Sage Goddess was good, then she went very commercial, and now I can't afford her stuff anymore. But I got my own tools. I'm good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So
Otherwise,
I got some word
okay.
association for you. All
Okay.
right. So in short phrases or one word,
Okay.
respond to a word I'm about to say.
Okay.
Demon.
Oh, Prissies. We have nothing else better to do but mess with us. They can go away.
Entity.
Oh, pain in the ass. Most of the time they are.
Apache tear.
Oh, my favorite rock. I hand them out to everybody.
You do. It's such a beautiful stone. Crystal ball.
I got two.
Crows.
Amazing. And some of them can even count.
It's true they can. Chakras.
Amazing. Open. Running.
Cats.
Eh.
Dogs.
Woof woof, motherfucker. Dogs are my favorite.
How about Palo Santo?
Oh, one favorite smell.
Yeah, it's a really good one, isn't it?
I actually have a bracelet made with Palo Santo beads. I didn't know that was a thing until I went to the bead shop at Mall of America, and I found they have bracelets with Palo Santo beads, and it smells amazing.
Oh, that's so house cleansing.
Fun. I love doing them. I really do. You get to see the people in their life and they're at their most vulnerable, honestly, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to do that. I even cleared out a Jewish family's home. I will travel all the way down to the Twin Cities from up here, and then northern recesses of hell. But yeah, it was amazing. And I'm like, okay, I guess it's Jewish thing too. I didn't know that. But yeah, I had to clean out their house. She had twins and she was expecting another one, and she was really concerned. So I
Okay.
got to clear the house. It was amazing.
And then what is a place that you would love to do an investigation at? Anywhere in the US?
Oh, Pennsylvania. I want to go to the psych asylum there.
Yeah, that would be really neat.
I want to go by the coal mines. I want to go over that area. The coal mines would be absolutely wonderful. That actually interests me more than going to Gettysburg or something like that. I know that there's that because that's kind of overdone. Because which is amazing. People get all those images of the soldiers walking by, but I want to go. I want to go to the coal mines because a lot of lives there were lost who probably need help crossing over.
I bet there's a way to help them too without being there also,
Correct.
but but being there is also really different and powerful in its own right.
Correct. I want to connect with the earth lines over there. I want to follow some of the ley lines of the earth and, connect.
Mhm.
It'd be beautiful.
And get your butt to Shasta.
I know. In Sedona.
Yes.
But there also is there's a website, I believe I'd have to look it up and share it with you. There's a website to tell you where the vortexes are across the United States. So if you can't afford to go to Sedona, there are closer vortexes. I know there's a big one in northern Minnesota. There's a waterfall up there, and it's absolutely huge. It falls into this big hole, but that's vortex. Good place
Yeah.
to recharge energetically.
Oh, vortexes can be so beautiful and also very
Yes.
scary. You gotta be
Yes.
careful with what you're playing with around those, for sure.
Yep, and thankfully in Sedona, they have names for each one, and they will tell you what they're kind of for. Somebody's actually cataloged them. So when you go near them, you kind of know what to expect when you feel the energy.
Okay. And Sarah, it sounds like you might be getting back into doing more things with like healing touch or making wands. Are
Yep,
you are you planning on selling them?
I will probably be doing it from my Instagram page, which is Seraphy.
All
Seraphy
one word?
Healing.
How do you spell that?
Yep. The SARAHFAE and HEALING. I already have some content on there that people can still peruse. Can message me with any questions. If there is a specific one that you're looking for, I'm going to have rates up pretty soon because some of these can be pretty intensive. But generally, depending, and they can be customized too. But usually, I don't go over $50 for a wand.
Her wands are
Depending.
beautiful, you guys. They're fantastic, and you can use them for so many things. I have one that looks like a feather duster, and so I use
Hmm.
that a lot when I'm cleaning a space, whether it's my space or someone else's.
Yeah, it's great for clearing out the body, great for clearing out chakras, great for going around the house. If there's, specific feathers that you want to use or a specific thing you want added to it out of your own personal collection, I can definitely work with that. And you have your choice of whatever wood you want pretty much, because like I live in the woods myself. So, but if it's an exotic wood, I need to know ahead of time so I can order it.
Yay, that's
Yay.
fantastic.
So
Thank
yeah,
you
it's gonna be a
so
lot of
much for
fun.
being on the show,
I
Sarah. I really
loved it. I
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Oh my
Love
gosh,
being
I
on
hope
with
you
you.
can come back some other time and we
Of
can
course,
shoot
would
the
love
shit and
to.
have a blast.
As usual. We just gave the people a little glimpse of our 10 years, 15 years.
I think it's been more than that.
I
I don't
think
even
so
remember
too.
what year, but it's been a long time.
It has. It's been a wonderful ride with you, girl. Oh,
And you know what we forgot to do, so we should just do it now.
yep.
Um, what are you sipping on today, Sarah?
I'm sipping on a little bit of vodka and a little bit of Dr. Pepper.
Excellent. I'm sipping on, it's called the Rock on the Rocks premium cocktails. It's already mixed together. It's cosmopolitan. So
Ooh,
cheers.
fancy. Cheers. Pinkies up, bitch.
Thanks for joining us on Spirits and Cousins, everyone. We'd love to hear your stories. You can reach out to us at Spirits and Cousins. You can reach out to us on email, spiritsandcousins@gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram at Spirits and Cousins. Have a great one.
Bye.